I'm late.
So today we're talking
6
about
or later.
advertising.
6.
Obviously, we see advertising in a lot of different places, a lot of different ways. So basically, we're thinking about ways to get things out there, right? So we can think about using email, we can use billboards, we can use TV, we can use radio. Those are all different ways of getting our advertisement out there. So what we're concentrating on then is our target audience. This means where are we trying to get to, right? Who are we trying to appeal to? Anyone that's a possible customer, right, for whatever product that we're trying to sell. So we have a couple of different ways that we're going to look at this. The print ads, this would be kind of like what we're looking at on page 457. So you could do this with a newspaper. We could do this in a magazine. This isn't probably as popular these days as years past. You know, you probably you guys don't even think about probably using or picking up a newspaper to find some of these things. But anybody look through the classifieds for a job, or some of you guys that like to tinker with stuff to buy things cheap, and then, you know, those are the things that you could get. So you could do this in general displays, and these are sold by the column inch and the column width. So how big do you want it? That's what you got to think about. All right. When you're talking about column width, you're talking about 1 inch deep. And so to figure out how much each ad is going to cost, you're going to do the column inches times the cost per inch times the number of column widths. So column inches would be like up and down. Column width would be how wide you would want it. So if you wanted a ginormous picture of yourself in the paper, you could do that. You just got to figure it out. All right. Otherwise, so you could do it that way. This is probably more for like printing stuff, listing things, those kind of. The other one would be if you wanted to put a picture in there. So you can do this by a full page, or you can do this by just a portion of the page. Maybe it's a half, maybe it's a third. And again, so if you notice on the bottom of the little chart on page 457, they kind of go through all this and show you the charges that you would get charged on. So notice across the top when they start talking about 1 time, 3 times, 5 times, 12 times. So if this was a monthly publication of a magazine, that means how many times that you want to run this. So if you're going to have a business that is going to be around and you're going to basically sell this all year around, you might do the 12 times. If you're only going to have a golf tournament, for instance, and we would want to have our golf tournament publicized in the paper or something, maybe we only do it as a 1 month thing. Okay, but notice the difference here. If I do it for 1 time compared to 12 times, look at the difference in the price, right? It's about $500 difference. So if you're only going to run it 1 time, you're going to pay for it a little bit more, but in all reality, I don't really need to run my article or run my print 12 times if I just want to get my golf course or the golf tournament out there that 1 time. You know, it's kind of a waste of space for me to do it year round. But if I'm going to, you know, maybe some of you would want to do that. I don't know. And then notice on the bottom, or then that was for full pages. So you can get a 2/3 of a page, 1/2 of a page, or 1/3 of a page. And obviously, the smaller the size, the less the price. And then notice down on the bottom, they talk about special charges. So if you want a lot of color, if it's 4 colors, obviously you're going to pay more for 4 colors than 2 colors. And then inside the cover is going to be the highest priced item. So if you want everybody to look at it you're gonna pay big money to be on the inside cover. All right? So basically, you're gonna use that little chart to figure out what you're going to do with your, or how much you're gonna pay. All right? And we'll look at examples of that in just a little bit. Other ads. So what else could we do? We could rent TV time. We could rent radio time. Right? That's probably a little bit more up to our speeds of what you guys would probably want to do. Maybe you get a billboard. Obviously, the internet's going to be really popular nowadays compared to back in my day. Right? But again, think about Super Bowl ads, right? How much are they paying for 30-second clips? Mucho millions of dollars, right? But again, they're expecting a lot of people to be watching at that time. So it's probably worth their money. So you got to think about that again, your target audience. Do I want to run my golf tournament ad on a church radio station? Maybe, maybe not. You know, so you're going to pick the platforms that are going to be most beneficial to each one of you, depending on what your product is. Okay. And then the last thing they talk about is the cost per person reached. So what does reach mean? That's just how many people see or hear what you're trying to advertise. And this is a big deal, right? So what you got to figure out, it's usually by the number of subscriptions, readers, listeners. How do they figure this out? Well, each magazine would know how many subscribers they would have, so you would know that total number. Readers and listeners kind of could vary. So if you ran this into a magazine or a newspaper, but that magazine or newspaper ended up like in a doctor's office, as people are just sitting around waiting for themselves to go in or waiting for their children to go through, maybe that article, that picture, whatever it happened to be, got saw by somebody that normally wouldn't think about either buying that, going to that event, whatever. So your reach actually reached somebody that you really weren't expecting. So when you think about the reach and the cost of this, you're going to think about the ads cost divided by the number of people. The other thing that you got to think about is, looking up here, is like websites. Okay, so if you had your own website or your company had their own website, just because they go into their website, does that necessarily mean they're going to buy something? Probably not, right? But they would understand or be able to see how many clicks they got that on a certain day or a certain time frame. And so maybe you only did your advertisement in that particular time frame. Okay, so you got to take all those kind of things into consideration. This is why you would have people in your business that would concentrate on this. They would do research. They would try to figure all these kind of things out, and then they would communicate with everybody, trying to put up the best way, trying to figure out the best way to get this out to all the people that you want to get it out to. And again, they would zero in on specific things, meaning clientele, meaning time frame, meaning, all those things would be taken into consideration. All right? That's all that we have for advertising. So, let's look at a couple examples, and then we can hopefully wake up before you have to leave. So, page 458, letter A. Your local newspaper charges $135 a column inch for a 1 column width general ad. What would you pay for an ad that is 3 column inches long and 2 column widths wide? So what are we going to do here? So again, notice back here on our formula. Yep, column inches times the cost per inch times the column width. So we're gonna take 3 times 2 times whatever they cost us. So, yep, grand total of $810. So you think about this, 3 inches long and 2 column widths wide. Kind of expensive, but probably worthwhile. Letter B, find the total cost of 1/3 page 2-color ad that runs 1 time. So go back to your little chart. Go down to 1/3 page. Go to 2 colors. And what do we get? So 1/3 page and 2 color. I'm going to add those 2 things together. So what do we get? Perfect.
Is there a difference between the dollar sign and the?
I thought that was just my book. I think that's just a typo.
1610.
1610. Yeah, I thought that was just in my book, so I don't think that has
Wait,
anything.
did you times or did you add them?
I just add them together. So I get charged for the 1/3 page and I get charged for the 2 colors. I just add this number.
So is 2 colors like an adding expense? Like this is like
Yes.
your normal expense and then that's just like adding?
So these are all special charges, so they're extras. So you take this and add that to this. All right, everybody good with that? Down to letter C. The cost of a 20-second afternoon ad on a local radio station is $120 per ad per day. What would be the ad's total cost if it runs once a day for 10 weekdays? We just take 120 times 10. A network charges $875,000 for a 30-second ad at a major sports event televised nationally. Think about that right there, right? $875,000, but you're probably talking, when they're saying major, it's probably the Rose Bowl or something like that, right? The advertisers must agree to purchase a minimum of 4 ads during the telecast. What is the advertiser's total cost of buying the minimum number of ads? Times 4, right? So if you're going to make a advertisement during that, you're going to spend $3.5 million. You don't think it's worth it? That's where you got it, yeah. What do you think about how many people are watching the national championship game?
Didn't a lot of the beers drop out of the advertisement for the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah.
Budweiser did.
Yeah.
So they're charging way too much.
They were charging way too much, and then they were the lucky ones because it ended up, wasn't it one of the worst Super Bowls ever watched? I mean, just watched. All right, over to E. A direct mailer inserts 30 ads in an envelope and bulk mails them to 24,300 households in a city. The cost of each ad is $825. To the nearest tenth of a cent, what is the cost per household? So the first thing that I have to do is I'm going to take the amount of money and I'm going to divide it by the number of people. We don't really care how many ads are involved.
You don't have to take it times 30?
Nope. Because one, the cost of each is, so basically they're saying that 30 is in like a package. So it's not 30 individual ones, it's kind of a package deal. So you're just going to take $825 divided by the 24,300. And so this is 0.034. So it costs you a little over 3 cents per person to see. Furniture store spent $3,600 on a newspaper ad featuring a sale on leather sofas. In the next 2 days, 130 people who looked at the sofas said they saw the ad. What was the cost of the ad for each shopper who was attracted by the ad? So again, price divided by people. So this cost you $28 per person. All right? But you got 130 people to come in. Plus it's furniture, which is pretty expensive, isn't it? You can make a lot of money in furniture. Okay? Alright? So I got the rest of the time, got lots of time. Any questions on any of this? So we had already talked, we won't, do the quiz on Monday. We will, review on Monday. Take the test on Tuesday, because I won't be here.